Good morning YouTube, what's happening? It's Chris from Dad's Garage, welcome back. Obviously you can see from this morning we're sat in project A4. Today is Judgment Day for A4. Basically, let's turn these fans down because it's pretty cold, however, you can't hear me. She's out running at the moment just to see if she's going to reach. She's running really well. Okay, so let's a bit of an update with the A4, where we are. Here's all over the place there. Okay, so about a week ago now, we fixed a vacuum leak on the A4. That went well. It turned out to be a crankcase breather pipe. We changed that, and then everything was good. So we took her out for a drive, and lo and behold, what we thought at the time was the slave cylinder went. Well, so we got the car recovered from the AA, and they were absolutely adamant that the slave cylinder had gone. Fast forward a week, there'll be a video, I think it's probably the one before this, where I'm diagnosing the A4. Didn't quite go as planned. We changed the slave cylinder. We did that because the weather here has been absolutely awful. It's Sunday morning now, and this is the first opportunity I've had to do anything with the car. It's finally dry, so we diagnosed. The issue I think I've got with the A4 is I think there's too many unanswered questions with the A4. If it's a viable option to continue working on and investing money in hopefully to get some sort of return out of it. Now, when the car broke down, we thought it was a slave cylinder, but Muggins here at the time thought, oh, it's clutch has slipped. Didn't realise it was a total loss of hydraulics. And what I think's happened is when the slave cylinder's gone, it got into the actual clutch and it's burnt the clutch out. As I've been trying to get it into gear to move it, it's ended up burning the clutch. So I think now it's a dilemma, because where the hydraulic leak is, I think it's not the slave cylinder, it's not the master cylinder. I think it's in between the pipework to get to it, because when you fill it with hydraulic fluid, all you see from the car is it actually dripping. You can see it dripping, but it's not dripping from the slave cylinder where you think it'd be, because that's now been replaced. It's actually further up the line. I've tried to trace the line up, and it goes above, and I think where it is above the gearbox. Now, this puts me into a bit of a situation. Now, do we go along the lines of, do we drop the gearbox? Or do we just say, right, enough's enough, and we cut our losses on the car and we move on to the next project? Now, it could be that there's a gearbox issue as well, because at the moment we can't get it. Oh, can you see that? Let's get down. You see that tricky toolbox there? So we've got first, don't have second, first, third, best angle for this, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, in the centre, and back in reverse. So at the moment I've got no second gear. That could be just a gear linkage issue, or it could be just from where the clutch has gone. I don't know, it could be just jammed in second for all I know. So that would be something we'd have to look into. Now, I've been doing a little bit of reading online, and what I think has happened is I think the clutch is actually burnt out. Now, if the clutch is burnt out, then we need to take the gearbox out to fix the clutch. If the gearbox is gone, we need to replace the gearbox. Now, this is a 2003 Audi A4. It's got 135,000 miles on it. Didn't really have a lot of service history when we bought it. The car at the moment owes us £700-ish, probably about closer to 8. Now, for a new clutch, we're talking the best part of nearly £100 maybe. And then if we have to add a flywheel onto that, we're talking best part of £230-240. On top of that, if we do have a gearbox issue, we then need to look at replacing the gearbox. It's a 6-speed gearbox, it's the Quattro, and it's 190 brake. I'm not really sure it's going to be a viable option, if I'm totally honest. What we'll do is we'll get under the car and we'll talk about how to get the gearbox. In fact, no, we'll do it here, because I don't really crawl around on the floor. Right, so to get the gearbox out, what we're going to need to do is, I'll stick some pictures up, put that here. we need to remove both to get the gearbox out. The gearbox is supported by a cross member, and the cross member is part of the subframe, so we need to drop the back of the subframe to get enough clearance, remove the drive shaft, and then we need to remove both axles, and then obviously the retaining bolts, and we need to remove the gear linkage. I'm not sure about removing the gear linkage because I've not really looked into that, it's something I've never done. So it's quite a lot of work. Unfortunately, I don't have access to a lift, so it's all been done on jack stands now. You know, I'm sure loads of people have done it before. Is it really going to be a viable option for the channel? Honestly, I'm not sure. This is where it comes up to you guys out there. You tell me, you know, do you want to see me do this? And we'll take it on as a project. Now, the A4 was always bought as a project to flip. When I bought it, I knew it misfired. It was misfiring, so I was 99%. I'm sure it wasn't. I didn't need to do an engine teardown because it was still running. It was still running all right. There was no really smoking out the back, so I was pretty sure the head gasket was intact, which it is. And I was pretty sure there was no loss of compression. It was just purely either to a misfiring, so it'd be a coil or a plug or a vacuum leak. It turned out it was a vacuum leak, so we've done that. So where do we go from here? That is the question. I'm getting loads of friend requests now. Very strange. So what we'll do, in fact, we will get onto the A4 and we'll have a chat about, you know, different things, and then we'll take from there. Okay, I'll cut back when we're under the cart. Okay, so we're under the cart, up on its jack stands here. Okay, there's the gearbox just above us there. Let's get the gearbox out. We need to remove, I think it's 2, 4, 6 bolts each to pull the axle back, sort of disconnect it from the gearbox. The good thing about these is because there's no actual spine that goes in. That shouldn't be too much of an issue to get them out, so that's not a massive issue. Next thing we go to the gearbox. The gearbox is held up by this back end of this cross member here, so we'll have to disconnect the part of the exhaust there. Remove this bracket under here, drop it and lower it down. Obviously we've got to remove the back and drive shaft, which is back here. There, you can see it. I'm not sure if you need to remove the back of this transfer case or not. I think you're going to need to. I think it's the power transfer case. But as you can see from underneath it, the gearbox is absolutely covered in oil. And that's purely and simply from where the hydraulic fluids given way. So guys, I thought I'd give you a quick update on where we are with the Audi. So what we've done so far is we've got the wheel off, as you can see. We've disconnected. Because of the light, zoom in. We've disconnected the axles on both sides. There it is. That's done by removing 6 bolts. 6 bolts. So we've done that. And now we're just in the process of removing, I'm really sorry about the sun, we're in the process of removing the drive shaft. And what this should then do is give us enough room to, once we've removed the lower mounts, to move the gearbox back enough, just so we can have a look inside and see where the state of the clutch is. I'm not actually planning on removing the full gearbox. I don't know if I'm going to need to do that yet. I'm just planning on sliding it back, so all I'll do is I'll get the drive shaft out, disconnect it from its gearbox mount, undo the bolts in the gearbox once we've drained the oil, and then just slide the gearbox back. That should give me enough access to get to the clutch, and also it'll give us enough access hopefully to get to the top of the bell housing and see where this leak is causing a hydraulic issue. But before we do that, we're going to get the drive shaft disconnected, look at disconnecting probably the gear levers, the gear mechanism, and then probably call it a wraps for today, and we'll do some more tomorrow. Okay, I'll cut back in once I've got the drive shaft out. Okay, so where are we at with the Audi? Right, what we've done so far, as you saw, we've dropped the axles and we are just in the process of removing the drive shaft. I've done it wrong so far, but I've done number 3 now, and if underneath I'll show you. That thing of oil should give you a clue. What I've done is I started taking off the back of the diff by mistake. So what I need to do now is I'm going to re-put the diff back on, We'll leave the oil out of it for the time being, and hopefully I should be able to disconnect the drive shaft. All I needed to do was just wiggle this and it should have come off, but it didn't, so I thought, well, I've undone the wrong bit, so I started undoing this. However, that's not right, so if you ever come do a drive shaft on Audi, don't do that. Anyway, what we'll do is we'll cut back and we'll have a quick chat once I've got this put back together. So what I'll do is, I think I'll just give you a quick update on where we have the Audi. As you've seen, we have disconnected both drive shaft, both front axles. They're all disconnected now. We have also disconnected the rear drive shaft from the back of the gearbox. What I did do, as you saw, made a mess of it and basically undid the back of the diff. I'm not sure how I managed that, but I did. That's now been reconnected to the back of the gearbox. It may need to come out at a later date, I don't know. So we have got as far as this. What I've decided is I'm going to just plod on with the repair on the Audi and see where we get to. It has got a hydraulic line issue again, which is above the gearbox, so the only way I'm going to be able to fix that is to remove the gearbox anyway. I also believe there's a clutch issue with the car, and I also believe that there's possibly a selector issue as well. To fix the car, if we had to replace the parts, it's probably more than the car's worth. I'm not going to do that. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to carry on the investigation and find out where we get to, and just to see where and what is up with the car. Sorry I haven't filmed a lot today. I've been stopping and starting doing various things, but please do stick around with the channel. I hope you've liked the content with this and you're starting to get into the Audi project. I am looking for ideas and comments below on what you think could be the issue with the Audi. Please, if you like what you're seeing and you're enjoying seeing this sort of content, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Massively helps me out. Don't forget to hit the bell notification as well, that way you don't miss anything when I go live when I upload videos. Anyway guys, thanks for taking the time to watch. Don't forget to check me out on Instagram below. Thanks for watching, peace out, catch you in the next one.